for groups like Mormonism, Christian Science, Jehovah Witness, how are we supposed to equip ourselves to have a conversation with those people who are just as deeply rooted in that belief and that faith in that as we are?
You bet. First point. Well, you know, Cliff, if your faith is sincere, that's a good faith. Really? If I sincerely believe in thin ice, when I walk out on that thin ice, I'm going straight through and I'll get very wet and very cold. If I have just a little bit of faith in thick ice, when I walk out on that ice, it'll hold me up. So you see, the issue is not so much how passionate are you? How sincere are you? The real issue is, what is the object of your faith? Who do you believe in? Now, when you read the Gospels, Jesus says, believe in me. And he claims to be God in human form. He claims to bleed and die on a cross for our sin, and that he is the way through death out the other side to eternal life. Now, when I meet someone who's a Mormon, they're usually a very nice person. And if we build a relationship, then I am committed to reading the Book of Mormon, to studying Joseph Smith, to understand Mormonism. And I'm sorry, when you study the life of Joseph Smith, you do not want to trust that man. He had and did some very good things, but he also had some major problems. And I can promise you, if Jesus had done what Joseph Smith did, I would not follow Jesus Christ. But you got to study it for yourself. And then because you love the person, you've studied it, and then you begin to raise questions. The reason that I trust Jesus Christ is he never sinned once. In John chapter 8, he could look into the faces of his enemies and say, which one of you can prove me guilty of sin? And his enemies were silent. In 1 John we read, John, his best buddy, writes, in him is no sin. So much of this comes down to the credibility of Jesus. Is he credible or is he not? Is he trustworthy or is he not? Same thing with Joseph Smith. Is he credible or is he not? Is he reliable or is he not? And if he says, I believe in Jesus and I'm a Christian, then he better not contradict Christ, because then we got a major intellectual problem. Now, the same thing with Jehovah's Witnesses. Obviously, Jehovah's Witnesses are usually very fine people, very kind, very good people, all right? And I respect them and love them highly, okay? But Jesus claimed to be the eternal God. John chapter 1, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And to deny the deity of Christ is to make a fundamental mistake about who Jesus really is. So with my Jehovah's Witnesses friends, we've got to discuss. Does the evidence of the New Testament point to Christ by his words and his actions claim to be God, or does it not? And I think it's rather clear. He obviously claimed by both his words and his actions, accepting the worship of Thomas after his resurrection, that Christ claimed to be God.